Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the GoMobi.work weekly coaching series. Each week, we hold these meetings free of charge for anyone to attend, anyone who wants to learn more about how to be a great leader, how to inspire others, how to create an empowered team and an empowered work environment. And so we are very grateful that you're here watching this video and spending time with us. And we hope that you get a lot of value out of these meetings. We plan to continue doing them for the foreseeable future because we're really enjoying putting this information together for you. And it's great to see all of the positive response that we've had so far. So thank you so much for being here. Please keep it coming. We love it and appreciate it so much. My name is Wade Bruffy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of GoMobi.work. And usually during these sessions, I'm joined by my co-founder and our chief coaching officer, Zoltan Sarda. But today, Zoltan has had some technical difficulties, so he is no longer able to make this Zoom meeting. So we will be feeling his good energy throughout this presentation. It has a lot of his influence in it, but I'm excited to share this information with you today. And one of the things that we really try to focus on here at GoMobi.work is creating this team environment, this company and organization culture that really seems magnetic to people. And so one of the things that employees are really looking for these days is this opportunity to grow in their role. And they want the organization to provide them opportunities for advancement. And a lot of the times they really want to see how this advancement can be laid out so that they understand I'm going to go from here to here to here. And knowledge is power. So we really are encouraging our clients and encouraging our customers to really go out and to create these systems and to speak with each other and to have these meetings, have these conversations with our help. And also internally teaching them how to keep these things going. But we wanted to speak about one of the things that is crucial to these conversations being effective, and that is the power of coaching with your mouth shut. And so we love this title. This is inspired by a book of a similar title about why talking too much can be actually hindering the best results possible. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, get things set up here. There we go. So hopefully you all can see this. I'm going to probably be pretty small here. So maybe if I can just once again, this is how you know these meetings are live because we are doing this in real time and it's probably not perfect. So thank you for your patience. I'm going to try to blow this up on my side and hopefully that works. But yes, so here we go. We're coaching with our mouth shut. So one of the things that's so powerful about coaching is these breakthroughs that we can create as coaches. And so a lot of the times we might be wanting this for somebody, and there's, in my view, nothing more satisfying than when somebody finally has that realization, that moment where they go and they're like, I get it. So I wanted to start this presentation with a few of the words that one might say when they have this moment of realization. The ahas, the holy smokes, can't believe this is happening, when somebody figures something out. And undoubtedly you've had an experience where you've said one of these things after you realize something. And maybe that was the result of trial and error. Maybe it was the result of you being coached and somebody helping you to come to this conclusion. So we hope that the title of this talk foreshadows it a little bit, but what we're going to be talking a lot today about is how to be an effective coach. And one of those ways is coaching with your mouth shut. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, we want to start with the definition of coaching. And there's a lot of definitions of coaching out there. This is ours. We think that it's very powerful. You might have a slightly different variation of that. In fact, we'd love to hear your definition of coaching. Leave it for us in a comment wherever you see this video. And for us, coaching is an influence process where the coach acts as the participant's guide and sounding board. The coach uses knowledge, experience, and structured coaching tools to support the person receiving coaching towards a positive outcome or change. Coaching leads to discovery, performance improvement, and better living. A lot of elements to that. we are saying this is an influence process. Somebody is taking on the role of a guide, but also being a collaborator. We want to help the person that we're coaching discover something new. And chances are that that discovering of something new is going to lead to performance improvement. It's going to help them understand something about their life that's really powerful and that leads them to behave differently and therefore have different outcomes, which support them more throughout their life. So that's a really powerful thing. And so we love, and another thing that we want to clue in on here is the structured coaching tools. This is such an underappreciated thing and a big misconception. Something that people really get wrong about coaching is that in order to be a good coach, you have to have done the thing before. It's not true. Not true at all. You need to have a basic level of understanding of what the person is going through, but you can develop that during a coaching session or over a series of coaching sessions. What you need are these coaching skills. This is the ability to coach somebody, regardless of who it is. Now, think about the person who's a billionaire. Are there billionaires out there coaching a bunch of other billionaires how to be a better billionaire? No. Billionaires hire coaches from all different walks of life to expose them to different ways of thinking, different ways of being, ways that they might optimize their life. So they don't need a particular coach in that area. And actually, people that are really successful are constantly looking for these different inputs. So that's something that we like to address to everybody. And anybody who's watching this saying, like, I don't know if I can be a coach because I've never done it before and I don't know any, like, I don't know. Guess what? If you get really good at doing what we're talking about today, you can help anybody. So that's really, really, really powerful. I hope you're excited about that already. I get excited about it, as you can tell. So one of the things, and this is probably the most foundational tool in the coach's tool belt, is questioning. So when we're talking about coaching with our mouth shut, we are talking about how can we ask better questions so that the other person is coming to these aha moments of their own volition and their own under their own power, because it's so significant. And the breakthroughs that we can achieve when we are guiding people towards a realization are so much more raw and so much more lasting when it's coming from them. And it's really getting their brain working in a different way. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So I wanted to start off with some of the common coaching pitfalls. And one of the things that it's very easy to do is to give people the answers. And so you might have been in a situation where you're mentoring somebody, or even if it's at home, like your kid or your spouse, and you're just trying to get them to see something and you can't help sometimes, but pelt them with the answer. Like, how could you possibly not see what I'm trying to say? Because clearly this is it and you're not getting it. So it's really, really the number one pitfall that we see is giving people the answers. And that's not what coaching is about. There is a room in coaching for instruction. There's room in coaching for helping somebody to get all the information that they might need. And you might have some of that information, so you can deliver that information in a helpful way. But by and large, giving somebody else the answer is not helping them learn. So we have to figure out what are the ways that we can help them learn as a coach. We're trying to support them in the process of discovery and growth. So the next thing that we see is an over-reliance on what are leading questions. So you might have heard this like in a court case or like a court TV show. These are popular things where somebody is leading the witness. So you're asking a question that has a pretty clear answer. So you're trying to get them to say something that maybe isn't their own original thought. So that's really good. And going to a bit of brain science here, we're activating, when you're giving somebody the leading question, you're not activating that portion of the brain that's creative and productive. So what you need to do is to shift the kinds of questions that you're asking. So it's important to ask these open-ended questions, which would be who, what, where, when. I feel like we've all heard this, and we're going to get to the exception of that rule in a second here. But these types of questions that are open-ended get people talking. If you've ever been, if you're watching this and you're in a sales role, if you've ever talked to somebody in a sales role, been in a sales role, you know that one of the things that it's very important to do when you're on the line with a potential customer is to get them to tell you a lot about what's their situation is, so that you can figure out if your solution is even a fit for what their problem is they're trying to solve. So you're not going to do that by asking a whole lot of yes or no questions. You might understand a little bit better what's going on, but it's in the details where the magic is. And really the ability to tie it back to different things is in getting somebody to share more with you. And so by asking these open-ended questions, you're doing that. Now, there is a limit to that. You don't want to ask questions that are too unnecessarily long and wordy. That's something that you might do if you're a new coach and you're trying to get something out, or the questions can get compounded. That's a really common one. You're asking like 3 questions in the same sentence. And, it's not necessarily going to completely derail the coaching session or completely ruin the person's ability to have that breakthrough, but you are going to be less effective with that than a really targeted, creative, skilled question. So we're going to go through an exercise later about how to come up with these questions. So I'm super excited for that, but just something to think about, like clear and concise, always better at directing people than a longer question. And finally, we omitted why from our session or our discussion earlier, and of what kinds of words that questions that are open-ended could start with. And the reason that we eliminate why from this is because it multiple reasons. So as a coach, your job really isn't always to understand why something happened. You want to understand the situation. So you might ask what happened, but you don't always want to ask why did somebody do that? And the reason is because it doesn't really matter what they think as a coach. Like you're trying not to be the therapist, and you're not trying to empathize too much, right? You're trying to prompt the next action as a coach. And so getting them to shift their thinking, instead of going into this diagnostic, once again, you're activating this part of the brain where it's just receptive. You're just diagnose and in the worst case scenario, maybe even just sitting in and stewing in this negativity that you've experienced. So that's not helpful. You want to get them thinking about, what is the next action that I want to take? So how would you have liked that to happen is a better thing to say, like, okay, what are we envisioning as the ideal scenario, so that we can aim for that in the future. So those are some of our common coaching pitfalls. And we want to also understand what happens when we are in this. Why would we want to ask these questions in order to create these breakthroughs? And so we were talking about this a little bit with the parts of the brain that we're activating. We really want to bring in the coachee's knowledge and experience, it spur their thought process, because when we're engaging them in a bigger way, that's helping them to start to have some of these aha moments, and even to create those aha moments for themselves. So that's the real power, is to create the aha moments for themselves. And when you're getting them to do the thinking, this is where connections in the knowledge that they have are being created. This is where the depth is created. And if you look at somebody who's truly excellent, that is really the power, is that they have this interconnectedness, this level of understanding that allows them to say, oh, wait, this is similar to this, and I'm going to connect these two things. And that's where creativity comes from. That's where powerful creativity comes from. That's where a lot of empowering creations can be made too. So what kinds of questions might we ask? Well, we might ask a reflective question sometimes to help somebody understand their context, if you look down at our next thing. Or you might ask them a driving question. What is a driving question would aim towards getting them to make a decision. And we really encourage here at GoMobi.work for our customers to, when they're working with somebody to in their team, to try to get that person to commit to one action, to really to give it your all, to get at least one action per coaching session. So unless it's highly remedial, you're asking somebody to do something, and that is the action that's creating the change. So a sure sign of a great coach is that they are able to guide the person to alignment with the circumstances, and they develop the person's autonomy such that when the coachee goes back into the world, they're more equipped to take powerful actions. So this is so key. What you want to do is to give people the tools to understand their context and give them the sense of, I can do it, that you've asked them enough next step questions, these driving questions, in order to get them to say, when this comes up, I'm going to do this. And as part of this, like when we're saying inquiry leads to breakthrough, coaching with our mouth shut, our aspiration is for the coach to do 10% of the talking, for the participant to do 90% of the talking. This is something that, I'm continually impressed with Zoltan, because he is so good at getting people to keep sharing information in a constructive and creative way that really helps them have those breakthroughs. And that's really, really powerful for his clients and our clients. So we have a lot of, we think about things in the context of business. And so we wanted to present this information for you in the sense of, how can I take this back to my team? Like, so if I'm working on coaching my people, what does this mean? Like, what is my goal? What is inquiry and coaching with my mouth shut? Like, what is the impact of that? We're curious. So this is a little chart that is borrowed from Josh Berson's book, Irresistible. And we love Josh Berson's work. He's an amazing HR thinker, and his company does a lot of really great research into how this book is about what makes organizations irresistible. So it's a great book. Highly recommend it. And he put out this graphic inside that book, and we loved it so much. It was a perfect illustration of what the goal of coaching really is. And what that means is we're trying to create this environment where we are very aligned across our team, and that everybody in our team feels empowered to do their best work. So they're highly autonomous and they're highly aligned. So that's a very powerful combination. So Josh put out in this diagram things that you might see. So the situation which he proposed was, each one of these teams has come to a river, and they need to cross this river. So in your low alignment, low autonomy organization, that team would probably say something like, we're confused about how to get from this side to the other. There's no alignment as to what might be the next best step, and nobody is autonomous enough to take the initiative. These are the people that are looking for somebody else to tell them what to do. And oh, by the way, everybody who might be capable of telling them what to do is thinking of something completely different. So there's very much dissonance between the team. And you can see, like, this team is not off to a good start in trying to get across the river. Now, with high alignment and low autonomy, you might get a command like, I order you to build this bridge, which is, frankly, sadly, pretty common among today's business environments. There's a lot of people who are like, that's how they were trained to do management. I'm just going to tell these people what to do. And that may get results. It may create amazing things if the people at the top are really smart about how they're directing, but it isn't creating this creative, self-sustaining environment, because these people are being directed. And so you might even be missing what an improvement to the bridge might be, because somebody at the bottom who's, working day in, day out, being like, this particular steel beam is not really suited for this, but I'm being told to do it this way, and I better do it or I'm going to lose my job. So you need to, this isn't necessarily something that, everybody's here on the same page. We need to build this bridge and you're going to go do it right now. But you might be leaving something on the table in this scenario. Now, moving over here, so we have this low alignment, high autonomy. So you might hear somebody say, I hope somebody is working on the river problem. Now, this is more like a business where people are working on disparate projects, and this might happen in a consulting firm or creative agency, something like that, where it's not necessarily anybody's particular job to address this kind of a challenge. So in this instance, I hope somebody is working on the river problem. There's a lack of a systematized alignment structure. So alignment is something that, it feels a little bit ethereal, a little bit like we can't reach out and grab alignment. What does that mean? So alignment as a system is deciding what is important to us and then putting in place processes to make sure that we are taking actions to align with that are leading us towards those things. So in the low alignment, high autonomy, like high autonomy is great. And you also need the system of alignment to make sure that people are generally, even though they're highly autonomous and able to do what they need, that everybody is moving in the same direction. That's powerful. And so in the ideal organization, we have high alignment and high autonomy. So this is where somebody in leadership will say, we need to cross this river, and can your team figure out how? And so this is really powerful. And I want to point out something to you here. Guess which one of these statements has a question mark? The high autonomy, high alignment section. So this is the power of questioning. This is the power of saying to somebody, we all know that this is a key driver for our business. We know that this needs to happen. Now, who can go out there and take initiative to figure out how to do it? Because we all have competing priorities. We all have stuff that we're good at. We all have strengths. We all have things that maybe we're not so good at. So how can your team figure out how to do this? Go, set them loose. This is the creative thinking. This is the enabling somebody to do their best work, because they are going forward and being able to create a solution that you're just saying, this is the goal, this is how we need to do it. And if you have really good alignment too, chances are it's going to inform how that thing gets done. So you're giving them you're giving your team the ability to go out and do what they want and make it their own. But you know that they have internalized the alignment such to a level that chances are this is going to be really strong for the company as a whole. That's powerful. Love that question. So effective organizations create autonomy. Autonomy leads to engagement. Engagement leads to faster results. And on top of that, with more creativity. And autonomy ultimately is this sense of agency that we're giving each other and that we're creating for our team. So this is inherently motivating. When we are able to take ownership over things, we are very motivated to keep doing them. And we're very motivated to see them through, completed in a positive way. One of the things that we truly believe in our hearts here at GoMobi.work is that everybody wants to do their best work. So that's really powerful. And creating this autonomy creates the culture of doing our best work, creates the culture of when a problem comes in, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to do it. I'll pull people in if I need to, but this is something that I believe in myself, and my team and our organization supports me in coming up with a creative solution, solving this problem. So effective organizations also create alignment, and that is alignment on priorities, alignment around expectations, alignment on the vision, and alignment on the process as to how we get there. So I love this analogy, and I thought of this recently during some client work. And it's that misalignment is like, if you've ever played tug of war where you're on a team and everybody's trying to pull the other team over the line, right? You're trying to get the rope to your side. Imagine misalignment is like when you're pulling on the rope, but somebody's pulling backwards, somebody's pulling this way, somebody like took their hands off the rope and forgot that they even had to pull. So instead of this uniform, and that's how you win tug of war, everybody pulls at the same time in the same direction. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. If you've played this ever on a playground, you know that without the synchronicity, without the unison, that it's impossible. And so basically, if your business isn't aligned, you're out there and people are yanking on the rope in the complete wrong direction. So you're swimming up. This is just making things way more difficult for you. So in order to set up this alignment, what better way than to ask some questions? So I have a little exercise for you today. I want you to think of 5 reflective questions and 5 driving questions for the people that you work with. So with your reflective questions, I want you to think about how you can address the key priorities that your organization has. What are the things that you do? And you're thinking about how can we foster that alignment? What are your key priorities? What are the most important things? And I want you to think about, with your driving questions, how can you prompt people to take action on a unique contribution that they can make? So you're empowering that autonomy with those questions. So take some time, write down 5 questions, 5 reflective, 5 that drive towards alignment, and 5 driving questions that drive towards autonomy. And I wanted just to give you a couple examples if they're helpful. So an example reflective question could be, what are the most important things that we need to do to keep our customers loyal? Chances are people in different parts of your organization will have different ideas about what that looks like. So your customer success people might have a different idea of what your software people or your fulfillment people or your warehouse people, that whatever branch of the business that you have or whatever branch of the business that you're in, chances are people are going to be thinking about this a little bit differently. So everybody will have different ideas. You need to ask everybody, because or encourage, give this exercise to other people in different parts of the company so that they can do it, because it's really helpful to understand a company-wide version of this. Alignment is alignment with the vision. That means everybody going in the same direction together. And for a driving question, an example could be, how might you apply one of your biggest strengths to solve this problem? And so what that question is doing is it's getting somebody to, first of all, identify what they're good at, which is empowering. And also, how could you apply that to solve this problem, is getting them to start thinking right away about solutions. We had a client recently that said to us, we really want to empower our people to take action. And we want them to come to us with a solution instead of just saying, oh my God, we have a problem, what do we do? We want them to come first with an answer of their own. And so in order to do that, they needed to create more autonomy, but they also needed to create more alignment. How is it that we want to address challenges when they arise? This is a professional services firm. So what are the number one things that we want our brand to be remembered as? And how do we do those things? How do we make people feel like that? And so if my particular strength is really understanding the numbers or something like that, how can we apply that to solving the problem? How can I take that tact and leverage something that I'm good at to achieve this aligned goal? So we want people to think I can do it, right? As far as creating that alignment and feeling that sense of autonomy. So hopefully this exercise was helpful for you, and we're going to bring it home. And just to recap everything, questioning's role in creating the high autonomy, high alignment team is really first starting with determining what things do we want to do. So in that previous example, it's what is the best things that we can do to keep our customers happy? What are the most important things? So we need to ask everybody, and we need to use that information to inform what we do. And so the question that we ask and we give to our customers to ask when we're going through their onboarding process is, what does it look like when we're performing at the highest level? And what that does is it defines excellence. And so we can then say, in every situation, we ask every single team this, we ask every single employee this, what does this look like when we are fully in? And what that does is it creates this language of, when we're doing things excellently, this is what we can do. And it establishes these rules of the road. Can you imagine being in your car if the rules were just like, maybe stop at the red light, or stop sign, sometimes maybe you don't have to do that, or green light sometimes means like this is a right turn. Like, no, the reason that we're safe on the road is because there are strict rules and everybody knows the rules. And if you get a speeding ticket in a place where you haven't seen the sign, you're angry. You're especially angry because you didn't realize that this was a posted thing. So if you're not posting the speed limit for your team, and you're, then going in and enforcing the speed limit, why aren't you doing this? But you haven't said that this might be something that needs to be done in this particular way, or getting upset with a solution that they brought. You have only your team's organization to blame, because you haven't gone through and set up these rules of the road. So the final piece of this is really that once you have these things outlined, you can continually adjust. Guess what you're going to do that? You're going to ask questions. So if something comes up, what happened? What's the best way we can deal with it? What systems can we create or improve to make sure it doesn't happen again at the basic level? You're going to have all sorts of iterations of this throughout your business. And really, that's the powerful part, is once you start to think about how to systematize improvements on these things, and using coaching as an intentional practice at every level of the organization to prompt this decision making, to prompt this reflection, to prompt this growth, and to prompt this alignment, then you are being so powerful. And we have previous videos about how to use data to do this. We talk about how we approach it. We talk about how to use software to do it, ours or somebody else's, no matter what it is. You can do it in Excel. It's great to do. And it will make your organization more effective. It will make your organization somewhere where people are all moving together, pulling on that rope, and you're going to absolutely astound yourself with how effective that you can be when you start to talk about and be intentional about these things. So thank you so much for being here. Once again, this has been a GoMobi.work weekly coaching conversation. My name is Wade Bruffy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of GoMobi.work. If you have any questions for us at all, we'd love to speak with you. Book a call with us on our website. Drop us a message on LinkedIn. We are available. We're ready to talk about this. We love it. We love building, at the very least, building our community of other people who are into this kind of thing, who are out there being change makers in the world. We see you. We appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time with us. It is an honor to be here with you. And we'll see you again next week for the next topic in the GoMobi.work coaching conversation series. So thank you again. See you soon, everybody.